heading up to La Madre Mountain. I'm on the Turtlehead Peak saddle. Here's Turtlehead Peak, but what I want to talk about today is 5 things that help me to do what I do and traverse a lot of distance. We're looking at total elevation gain of 5,000 feet today, if we make it. We'll see. And the first is weight. Second is training. The third is sleep. The fourth is speed. And the fifth is the route. The first, as far as weight, is that I get to my ideal body weight, which is as light as I can be and also be strong. So it's kind of like a top class bicycle where you can take a very heavy bicycle and it's just very difficult to ride that bicycle, but you take 5 pounds off it, take 10 pounds off it, get a lighter bicycle till it's almost featherweight, and yet it's got a very light, strong frame, maybe carbon fiber. Remember when I started riding bikes, there was the old Schwinn Continental, which was made of steel. It was very, very heavy. It was like a tank. And I then graduated to a Latour, and much lighter. And now a Latour would seem like a tank, and it had the sew together frame, and that was a big thing when that came out. Now the bikes are so light, they're featherweight, and it's almost like they just pull you up the hill. Well, your body is the same way. You spend hundreds of dollars, $1,000 to get a bicycle that is lighter. And you can do the same thing with your body. And so I'm about 15 pounds heavier than I need to be. So I'm pulling a lot of weight up these hills. So I'm going to lose about 15 pounds, and I'll talk about that in a bit. So weight. The second one is training. You want to train to the ideal, which means that you don't overtrain and you don't undertrain. There is a balance so that when you hit the challenging adventure run or hike, you're in perfect condition. You're not too exhausted, you're not too overtrained, you're not undertrained. So I work on that, a balance. Everything is equilibrium. The weight equilibrium, the training equilibrium. Another is temperature. And so when I start out these hike runs in the mountains, I start out a little cold. There's nothing that will drain your energy more than trying to keep warm all the time. I warm myself with my body weight. I start out a little cold. By the time I get to this point, it was about 45 degrees. I was in my running shorts. Still am in my running shorts, and the temperature right now is probably 50 degrees. Feels like 60, 65, but I did not overheat going up this hill 1,500 feet, and that is something that has helped conserve my energy. So temperature equilibrium is very important. The next is sleep, and if I don't get enough sleep, I find that I'm just exhausted. I'm exhausted on these long endurance hike runs. And so sleep is very, very important. Everyone has an ideal. Mine is between 6 and 8 hours a night. 7 is perfect. And 2 nights before the big run, I need to have a really good sleep. The night before is not as important, but 2 nights before, very important. Another important strategy is the route, and attempting to make the summit by the route that has the least up and downhill. That's my goal. It's kind of hard with La Madre Mountain because I've got to climb Turtle Head Saddle and then go back down. So I'm ascending 1,500 feet, descending about 1,000 feet, 800 to 1,000 feet, and then ascending again another 3,000 feet. So no, it's very difficult to make this route as even as possible with as least elevation gain, and it's probably the toughest route of all the routes that I do. But that's very important. So those are the elements that are the most important in terms of strategy and making it on a long endurance, high elevation gain adventure. So I hope this is helpful. By the way, the final area, I don't think I can count when I've climbed and exerted so much energy, I get a little bit loopy, but there is a final. I said there were 5, there are actually 6. And the last one, the last strategy is speed and balancing out your speed as you go. It's a natural thing to feel like you've got all the energy in the world when you start. And the problem is if you go as fast as you feel comfortable at the start of an endurance run, you're going to tap out a lot earlier and just become exhausted. So what I do is I go a little slower than I feel comfortable at the beginning, and then about halfway through, if I can pick up speed, I do, but sometimes I don't. I just keep a steady, slow pace. I have a certain elevation where I will run if it's downhill or slightly uphill. If it reaches a certain incline, I'll walk, and I found that walking is actually as fast as running when the incline is at a certain level. So anyway, speed and balancing out your speed is also important. So these are the areas that you want to balance as you're making your strategy how to do an endurance mountain adventure and make it to the end.